Okay, now we're gonna have 6 augments. So what are we going to do with those 6 augment slots? What are we going to do? Well, right now, Halfinale, for sure. Like, there's like no way that Halfinale would get kicked out of the lineup. It's just too strong. The cost is like still pretty high for it to make it. It's like $1 and some change, or like 2 mil to just have one of these. So if you were to do 10 at a time, that gets pretty expensive. Pretty expensive, especially for 4 pieces. So most of the time you'd want to like YOLO it, Gamba the one capsule at a time, because it's so expensive. The other one is Giga Smash Day. That one's like also a really good capsule and is quite costly. I do think that the cost of this one's gonna go down though, because with the headline, not Dual Quest, but with the Gigas, they're gonna drop Gigas Strugments, and those Giga Strugments you can put into getting more Gigas 4s to make this. But it does require you to do phase 1 dual quests, which, as we get more levels, it might make it a little bit easier, but you're still probably going to need the Defi Augments to farm it efficiently. And with those Defi Augments, they don't apply to the new phase 2 quests, which these have a new Fuchsia, Dual Fuchsia, which will probably make some other combination thing, or maybe several combination things, since the Fermito that makes this also makes trippables, which I think that would be another augment that you would use. Trippable, like, I don't know, you can use the guard one, that one's pretty good, or the deft one, I would say. The deft or guard trippable would be a good option there. An alternative to this is just using Ultra Credit 4 if you want to, but it just has penalties on it, so not as good as these. Yeah, another gear set for phase 2, isn't that amazing? Yeah, you're gonna have to get Defi phase 2 augments to farm this one out, which they didn't say how we're gonna obtain those. We're gonna have to make a separate set for that and phase 1. It's probably gonna both have relevant augments. Let's see, for what we know right now, there's going to be an XD augment. This is the new Addy version. So the pay to win capsule. So this isn't going to be for everybody, because you can only get it through AC scratches, and they're going to be expensive in the player market if you don't scratch for it. So you can probably skip this one if you don't care for absolutely min-maxing, but it is there. It exists. If you don't want to go for this one, maybe going for the previous Addy hybrid in the player market would be cheaper, since people have been dumping those into the shop, but those would probably eventually get lower and lower in supply to where it's not worth it. Like, they'd just be too expensive and not enough of a bonus. So this is kind of like a optional, but still like very powerful. Let's see. So what I have on my gear now, there is Mastery 4. Some people were saying that Mastery 5 might happen. But Mastery might go here. Whatever kind of Mastery. Mastery 4, potentially 5. /5. So that'll probably still be good for the majority of people. If 5 does happen, that'll be good for everybody. If it's still just 4, Slayer mains would probably opt for something else, since they care more about straight potency because of the crit rate that they get, instead of getting floor and less potency. Let's see. So that's 5 right now. 6 augment. I know a lot of people would probably want to use Dread. I mean, if you care about being tankier or just like having a whole bunch of other stats, you might want to go for that. Not great for DPS though. It's another optional one, a potential one that you might want to use. I don't think there will be any Dread 5, because we're not getting a new zone, so not any new Dread enemies to go for. But that's there. Dread is better than dead. True. That is true. Rather be alive than dead. Yeah, for the update, there will be some kind of combination. They said that there is going to be a synthesizing thing with the Starless Soul that you can get from the Starless enemies that they showed. The Starless Soul is just 3% potency in itself, so you want to use just that, you would make the new combination. I don't know if that's going to involve these Phase 2 fuchsias, or if it's something else entirely. So, probably whatever that Starl combo is. I don't know what it is, but it'd probably be good. Instead of that, though, you could still just use a previous Soul 4 if you wanted to. Probably can't really see it. Soul 4. There we go. It's a previous Soul 4, and I got little bits here because green screen's having a good time. Yeah, Starl combo, and this is probably in the same category as Soul 4, so anything from Stia, or probably Age of Soul 4. Any of the Kavaris ones are pretty good. Just almost any Soul 4, honestly, except for Arati isn't that great, or the Vardy Soul 4, not so great. A lovely Stia Domina, I wouldn't use that. I probably would not use that, personally. I would just use those to make health allies. Yeah, this takes 10 of each Domina. And what, 30 of the Aegis Souls? Doing this with mouse is so fun. Yeah, 30 Aegis Souls. And then the Mass Day takes 10 of the Gigas 4s. G4. And then, what is it, 10 of the Fermitos? From Dual Quests. And then the Triples take 3 Fermitos. And, 10 of their type of, what are they even called? Stat combos, I guess, because there's like deft, might, deft, precision, that kind of thing. So if you're making a triple, you'd have 10 of each of those. And for the guard one, you need 10 of the guard precisions, guard mites, and guard techniques. So I have those respective things. So a lot of like combination pieces now. Same with this whatever combo here. Let's see. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. Addy as an optional over XD, but Dread is another option. Soul 4. I want to say kind of like this is the expensive one. Like this is like for if you're min-maxing. So whatever. Like that right there is like min-max. If you're not going to use this though, like if you're not gonna do the pay-to-win capsule at all, I guess whatever this makes. It really depends on the categories. In the Dual Fuchsia, the Dual Phase 2 Aug. But I have no idea what that's going to be, and if it involves this or what, I don't know. It's not clear yet. You hope the XD Augs just have pure potency and not dual, like 2 different potency types. I can almost tell you for a fact that they would not do all potency. That would reduce how many augments there are, like by a lot. Because when they did it hybrid, there's still the same amount with all the different combinations, or roughly the same amount. But with XD, if you make it all potency, then that only gives it 1 for each of those categories, which should, I mean, I guess be good for you. I don't think SEGA would do that because money. Because money. Yeah, this and this are the same thing. what would be another option that would still work? It's like what we currently know, what we have in the game. I believe a stat would work. I don't think trippable and stat here are in the same category. I don't think. But there was one other augment that was shown in the headline. When they were showing off a feature. Yeah, right here. They show a new Ale Sovereign augment, which is a 4-star rarity. So it's a higher rarity than like the other normal kind of augments, like the combination ones. Because that's like on the same level as like a Gigas 4 or Gigas 3, whatever. I think those are that rarity. Okay, instead of just being like a 3-star like all of these, it's on the same caliber as Double 4s, Soul 4s, whatever. It's another Domina, is it? You think so? I mean, it does say Ale Sovereign, so yeah, Aleo. So there's probably a Retem Sovereign, Kavera Sovereign, and Stia Sovereign. Maybe you're right. They're doing Alpha again, yep. They probably are. I don't know how fast they're gonna go through it, though. But they definitely are going through everything again. God help us all. I mean, after seeing the Aleo thing, I just immediately assumed that they're gonna go through all the regions again. I think it just kind of like solidifies it even more with this augment. Yeah, that augment exists, which they don't show how powerful that is or what it's for. If you just use it or what. Yeah, if it works like a Domina, it's probably not too great on its own, but better when combined. But it would probably be at least a 3% potency capsule like Stia Domina, if it is the same kind of thing. If it also is that, it probably is in the same category as a Domina. So you couldn't use a Sovereign and a Domina on the same piece. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. They're kind of like all over the place when it comes to the categories. Yeah, this Ale Sovereign can play a part in something. Maybe it's in combination with the Phase 2 thing, the Starl thing, or something else entirely later. I don't know where it gets placed into here. But that's pretty much like all the options that they showed so far. So, a Dula Fuchsia, a Starl Augment. I don't think there's any more capsules that we know for a fact. Like from the headline or for like the version 2 update. So this is probably what your gear is going to look like. If you're trying to min-max, that is. What would be the play if you're just trying to budget, but still have at least, like, decent stuff? So I would say right off the bat, an easy potency capsule to have is Stat 4. So Might 4, Precision 4, or Technique 4. Those are very common, super cheap. There's an insane amount of supply of them. I expect them to still be like 1,000 Meseta, 2,000 Meseta, whatever. Not to be able to just go like crazy with trying to scalp it, but that would have to be an insane amount. But yeah, so Sat 4, good option. I think a Soul 4 from like our current content. All of that is like really cheap. Except for like Aegis 4, because that's used in Half Finale. Just anything along those lines will be pretty strong for you. As long as it, it follows your potency type, right? Just make sure with all of these that you do it for your certain weapon. So if you have a melee weapon, which is like a red or orange color in the icon, or it's PAs, use that. If it's a ranged weapon, use precision, which is all blue, and then technique is all yellow. So a lot of people get confused with like wand being melee, but wand is actually technique. Same with jet boots. Yeah, for the other kind of capsule that you might want for this, I think Secreta 4 is not like the cheapest, but it should be pretty cheap, I would think. It'd be way cheaper than a trippable like that we were looking at earlier. Yeah, it'd be way cheaper than a trippable like guard or depth that pretty much does the same thing. This one just has like some penalties attached with like tankiness. I actually, this is hard to say. I think a Gigas 4 would be cheaper. Now, like what we saw with the Gigas Strugments, being able to get those and exchange it for Gigas 4s. Because it takes 10 of the Gigas Augments from these Recon Gigants, or the Gigantics in the Alio region that we're going to be facing, to get one. There is a limit of getting 10 per week, though. So I don't know how much it's going to drop by, if it does. Because I think a lot of people will still be using them for Giga Smash Day, so it's hard to say. I also put like Gigas 4 down here, but it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a little bit more expensive than everything else I'm gonna talk about here. At least once the version 2 update kind of settles in, right? Because like day 1 or week 1, it's probably gonna be woo, because people are all upgrading the new gear, the new 9 stars, whatever. There's probably gonna be armor, because they don't usually announce armor. They're probably like 8-star armor or something like that. Yeah. I mean, Secreta 4 has kind of held into price, even though it has the Infernium exchange. Because not everybody gets the Infernium. Just how, like, not everybody's going to be killing these Gigas enemies. So it might be cheaper at first, but later down the line, it might go back up. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah, it's definitely workable. Well, this is just, like, kind of an in-between, I guess. Not too budget, but not very expensive. I think Doable 4 would actually not be too bad, because you can exchange it with Infernium to get it. And they also just drop often enough as well. Yeah, I'll put Doable 4 in. Those are cheap. And those are a little bit less than, like, these Stat 4s, which are 3% potency. These are 3%. This is, like, 2.5, but also gives you 2.5 floor. Yeah, this is just 2.75, but of 2 types of potency. Still gotta make sure that it follows one of, like, the weapon that you're using. But, like, it's just like another category that you can put in. Yeah, it's a nice filler. Yeah. It's a category that doesn't, you know, conflict with any of these. Because, yeah, now that we're working with 6 augments, gotta be aware of the categories, like, a lot more. Honestly, like, going back to the Gigas thing, I think, would using a Gigas 3 still be fine? I mean, it's 2.5%, it gives you a little bit of HP, so it's less than a Gigas 4. But I think because you can't exchange 3s for 4s, as far as, like, what the headline showed, I can only get through Giga Augments. I think the 3s will just, there'll be an insane supply of them, so they'll probably just be dirt cheap. So you could probably use like a 3 instead if this gets too expensive. And that would kind of fill this spot. Gigas 3 or 4. It's not too bad, not too bad. For the 6 spot, you know, just like, is it like a 6 augment that is like cheap still, I think, that isn't just like garbage. Because, I mean, besides the Domina, like the Stira Domina, like this is 3% potency, but it has like a -2 damage resistance, but it does fit another category that doesn't conflict. But because it's attached to HAL Finale, being able to craft those, I think they're going to be back to being expensive. I think they went down to like 25,000 on ship 3, they might be a little bit more now. But I think these are just going to skyrocket again. So, like, the next best thing besides that, I think, is a, either an exploit or a note. Like a, Dexta note or a Noisel note. I mean, that's 2% potency. Like, it isn't the greatest. But they're insanely easy to get and really cheap. So I put Noisel note there. I haven't heard of those in a while, yeah. I mean, they're a nice, like, filler as well for, like, if you're just going dirt cheap route, and it isn't, like, too bad. It isn't too bad. Because, I mean, people have made less than this. So I think if you're just trying to do the bare minimum, this is what you would do. Like, have a good amount of potency with your gear, and still be on the cheap side of things. Because this gives 3%, 3%, 2.5%, and 2.5% floor, 2.75%, 2.5 or 3, depending on which one you get here, and another 2%. So that's a lot added up over the 4 pieces of gear. Should get you in the high double digits. Probably even, I don't know, with 6 augments, you probably would get into like 100 almost with this. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it'd be definitely up there because they multiply off of each other. Yeah, so I think I'll just erase this here. Yeah, like Gigas 4 down here, Gigas 3 here. This is kind of like an optional if you want to go up a little bit more. And then like a Stira Domina, if that isn't too bad to go for. So this would replace the Gigas 3 here, and then the Stira Domina would replace the Note. Everything else you would keep the same in a budget. And then you would just like slowly upgrade to the other things I showed in like the min-maxing spot. I think exploits would be good too. Yeah, the exploit ones is also very good. But they're just like very specific to only one element weakness. But they do give 2.5% against that one weakness. So if the Starless or whatever are only weak to like one type, then it's fine. So I think, what was it, Ice? Was it Ice for the Gigas in Alio? So maybe like Ice Exploit or whatever. Whatever fits, right? But it's not going to apply to everything that you're going to be doing. That'd be a nice option to have instead of the Note as well. Yeah, this is probably what you should expect going into the version 2 update. It might look a little bit different because they haven't shown us everything yet. Like the update isn't here, it's still a week away. Or like 2 weeks away because the combat content is 2 weeks away. Yeah, this is probably what you should go into at the bare minimum for just like a budget build. And then like think about min-maxing with other things if you want to. Just absolutely destroy stuff with the other things we showed.